Once upon a time in a beautiful village, where the sun always smiled and people laughed a lot, there lived a kind king named Zulu. He was like a big warm hug for the whole village. King Zulu loved his people, and he showed it in a special way. Every year you see in this village, everyone helped to grow food on a big farm owned by the king. They grow yams, corn, and lots of fruits, and when it was time to harvest, King Zulu did something amazing. He would share all the food from the farm with the villagers. Yes, everyone got a piece of the farm's bounty, making sure no one was hungry. This made the villagers love King Zulu even more. They respected him a lot because he was generous and always thought about their well-being. But in this beautiful village there was also Prince Tally, the king's son. Prince Tally was very different from his father. He was handsome, but he was not as kind. People called him the Shameless Prince. Imagine someone walking around acting like he made the sunrise and the birds sing, not listening to anyone, especially the older people. That was Tally. He liked to remind everyone that he would be king one day, and sometimes he didn't behave nicely. He would go to where people drank palm wine, tell everyone to leave, drink as much wine as he wanted, and then not even pay a single coin to the seller. The palm wine seller, a kind man who worked hard every day, could only watch as Prince Tally drank away his efforts. This wasn't a one-time thing. Prince Tally did stuff like this a lot. He'd go to the market, grab whatever he fancied, and say, "I'm the future king, so it's mine." The villagers were upset but felt powerless. They knew complaining to King Zulu was their only hope, so they went to the king one by one with stories of Prince Tally's doings. King Zulu listened with a heavy heart. Each time he apologized and tried to make things right. He gave out more crops or money, saying, "I'm sorry, please understand." It was clear that King Zulu was troubled by his son's behavior, but he loved him too much to be harsh. The villagers appreciated the king's kindness, but they also wished Prince they would learn to be more like his father. King Zulu knew this too, and hoped that one day Prince Tally would understand the true meaning of being a leader. As the sun set on the village, life went on, but the shadow of the prince's actions loomed large, hinting at challenges to come. The villagers hoped for a change a day when Prince Tally would see the light of kindness and generosity, just like his father King Zulu. One bright morning, with the sun kissing the earth, King Zulu called a big meeting at the royal palace. Everyone important in the village was there, including the wise council of elders who had long beards and kind eyes. They all gathered around, curious about the king's sudden call. King Zulu stood up, his voice steady and clear. "My dear friends," he began, "I must travel to a far land across the great rivers and mountains. I will be gone for 3 moons. During this time my son, Prince Tally, will take care of our village. He will be in charge." A wave of whisper spread through the room. The elders, who were wise like owls, felt a storm coming. They whispered among themselves, "No, that's not good. Tally really..." They knew Tally loved himself a little too much and didn't listen to anyone. But the king had made up his mind, and no one could change it. As soon as King Zulu left, Prince Tally wasted no time. He stood tall and announced, "I am your leader now." But instead of wisdom and kindness, he ruled with arrogance. He sent the elders away from the palace, saying, "I don't need old advice." Prince Tally was making everyone's day really hard. He was so naughty they'd ride on people's backs just for fun, like they were horses. He would go to the market and take whatever caught his eye. "No, please, no, thank you. Nothing," leaving the sellers in tears. And the most shocking of all, he pointed at any girl he fancied, demanding she come to the palace. If anyone dared to speak up, he would order his guards to beat them up. The villagers were scared and angry, but they felt helpless. Who could stand up to the prince? The elders tried to reason with him, reminding him of his father's ways, but Prince Tally wouldn't listen. He laughed at them, saying, "I am the future king. My word is low." As the days passed, the village, once full of joy and laughter, grew quiet. Under Prince Tally's rule, the people missed King Zulu deeply, hoping for his quick return. They longed for the days of fairness and kindness, wondering how long they would have to endure this misrule. There was this very old woman in the village, wise and kind, who went to Tally and said, "Listen, young man, if you don't let anyone talk to you, you're going to trip and fall hard." But did Tally listen? Nope. He just kept doing his thing, thinking he was the tallest tree in the forest. But he would soon realize that even the tallest trees can be shaken by the wind. In the heart of our village lived Lala, a farmer known far and wide for his big farm of corn and yams, and for something even more special, his beautiful twin daughters. These twins were like two peas in a pod, yet each shone in her own way. Their laughter was like music, and their kindness like a warm breeze. Everyone in the village adored them, and many dreamed of winning their hearts one sunny day as Prince the roamed the village on his usual rounds of mischief. His eyes fell upon Lala's daughters walking in their father's farm. Their beauty struck him like a lightning bolt. He had seen them before, but today he decided, I must have them both as my wives. So Prince Tally, with all the subtlety of a charging bull, approached. Lala, your prince have chosen your daughters to be my brides, he declared, as if he was bestowing an honor. Lala's heart sank. This was not the honor Prince Tally believed it to be. It was a command, one that carried the weight of a threat. In the village it was unheard of for one man to marry two sisters, let alone when the girls were too young and not ready for marriage. But how could Lala say no to the prince? The fear of what Prince Tally could do to his family and his farm weighed heavily on him. With a heavy heart, Lala nodded in agreement. His words stuck in his throat. The twins standing by their father were shocked. They knew of Prince Tally's reputation, and the thought of being married to him filled them with dread. Word of Prince Tally's decision spread through the village. Whispers of discontent rustled through the streets. How shameful to sisters, this is too much. The villagers' displeasure grew, but so did their fear of speaking out against the prince. Despite the villagers' whispers and their father's heavy heart, the twins stood tall. The twin girls, though, whispered to each other and smiled a little smile. They had a secret plan brewing, something to teach this shameless prince a lesson. He wouldn't forget. They had a plan, one that would show Prince Tally he could not take whatever or whomever he wanted without consequences. The village watched, holding his breath, as Lala's daughters walked towards the prince's palace. This was more than just a marriage. It was a turning point, one that would challenge Prince Tally in ways he never expected. Inside the grand walls of the royal palace, Prince Tally was buzzing with pride. He had brought the twins home ready to show them off as his newest treasures. But the twins, they had a different story in mind. They weren't going to let Prince Tally parade them around without a fight. They were clever, full of spirit, and they had a plan. The twins started by being politely disobedient. They would smile sweetly at Prince's orders and then do just the opposite. If he asked for water, they'd bring him a leaf. If he wanted silence, they'd laugh and sing. The prince, used to getting his way, was baffled. He couldn't understand why he couldn't control them. Then came the day of the big feast. Prince Tally had invited men of honor from neighboring villages to show off his power and his beautiful new brides. The palace was buzzing with preparations, and Prince Tally was puffed up like a peacock, eager to impress. So, Prince Tally asked the twins to make the most delicious feast ever. Please make it nice for my guests, he said, thinking they'd listen this time. But the twins, with plans to punish the prince, had a different idea. They nodded and took the money to buy food. But guess what? They bought nothing to eat and nothing to drink. The big moment came, and all the guests were sitting around, their tummies rumbling, waiting for something delicious. The twins walked in with big trays and pots, and everyone's eyes got as big as moons. Here comes the feast, they thought. But surprise! The plates were as empty as a bird's nest in winter, and the pots were full of water, not the sweet palm wine everyone expected. Prince Tally, shocked, stood up to ask questions, but then splash! The twins poured the water right over his head in front of everyone. Can you imagine? There he was, all soaked and drippy, looking like a fish out of water. His guests couldn't believe their eyes. They were so shocked they could hardly speak. They got up and left, leaving Tally standing there, dripping and embarrassed. Oh, how the tables had turned. The twins showed him that being mean and bossy wasn't going to make anyone respect or listen to him. Just as Prince Tally was steaming like a pot of hot soup, all angry and sending for Lala, guess who shows up? King Zulu. Yes, the king himself walks right back into the palace. The king walks straight to the palace, his presence commanding and calm. The villagers gathered, curious and hopeful, wondering what would happen next. Prince Tally, still nursing his wounded pride, was shocked to see his father return so soon. "Father, you're back early," he exclaimed, a mix of happiness and fear in his voice. King Zulu looked at his son, his face unreadable. Then, turning to the villagers and the gathered crowd, he began to speak. My people, I left on a journey not of distance, but of learning. I wanted to see how my son would rule in my absence. The air was thick with anticipation as King Zulu continued. I have watched unseen as my son chose the path of arrogance and misuse of power. This was a test, not just for Tali, but for all of us, to remind us of the values we hold dear. So Prince Tali's heart sank. He glanced at Lala and the twins, who stood among the villagers, their dignity intact despite everything. King Zulu's voice grew firmer. Tali, you have failed to respect and serve the people. You sought to rule by fear, not by love. Therefore, you will no longer be prince. Instead, you will serve the village to learn the humility and kindness you so lack. The villagers murmured in agreement. It was a fitting punishment, they thought, for someone who had misused his power so greatly. And so, Prince Tali became a servant to the village, turning to the fields, carrying water, and doing all the tasks he had once thought himself above. It was hard work, but with each passing day, he learned the value of humility, kindness, and respect. The twins, their spirits unbroken, continued to be adored by the village. They reminded everyone of the strength of standing up for what's right, even in the face of power. King Zulu, wise as ever, watched over his people, his heart heavy but hopeful. He knew that the lessons of these days would echo through the village for generations to come. Tali learned that being a leader isn't about telling people what to do. It's about listening, helping, and caring. He found out that being truly strong means being kind and humble. No more showing off, no more taking what's not given. Now he was giving back, and oh, how good it felt. This tale, the one about the shameless prince, wraps up with a vow of wisdom. It tells us that no matter how young or old we are, being humble is mighty. It teaches us that power is not for making others feel small, but for lifting them up, making everything better for everyone. And that, my friends, is the true heart of a leader. I hope you enjoyed the tale. If so, please like the video, share it with your family and friends, comment on it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for more enchanting tales like this one. Goodbye.